Hey there, it's Dr. S, your student nurse success coach, coming to you on this Sunday night to give you a little bit of encouragement, a little positivity. So I'm going to just jump right in. I have a few notes here. I know that it's Father's Day, so in honor of my father, Bill Tidwell, I want to share one of his favorite phrases that he shared with me that was very pivotal in my not only my nursing career but in life in general. And it was, everybody has to have a PMA, positive mental attitude. Those three letters mean a lot. It's very easy to get overwhelmed, and with the weight of assignments and clinicals and paperwork and tests, and a lot of you are still working, have all kinds of other responsibilities. It's very easy to get down and get stressed out and get tired, and you want to start just feeling defeated. It's a drain on your mental energy and physical energy too. But if you're not careful, you can allow that to just build up, and then you become your own worst enemy. I saw an Instagram post one time, and it's been a while back. I tried to find it, but it's been several years ago now. But it was a nursing student, and she was blowing up just the program in general, her instructors. She had gotten into that mindset of us and them. The them, they don't understand, they're not being sympathetic, the requirements are too much. And then it got into this, they're expecting us to be doctors. We might as well go to medical school and be doctors, because they want us to know the medical diagnosis and all the symptoms and how to know what to treat and what to order. And she was just really struggling. And I usually hold back on just jumping in and giving my opinion, because a lot of times it's just that, it's my opinion. It may not change anything for anyone. But I started reading all the comments that followed, and it became a little worrisome to me, because everyone was jumping on that bandwagon. And of course, being on this end of it, being a seasoned nurse, being a nursing instructor, I see the other side of it. And so I jumped in, and I really thought about it carefully, chose my words carefully, because I didn't want to come against her as, I don't feel your pain, I'm not sympathetic to you, I am just correcting you. That's not going to help anyone. And I didn't need to say that to her. It wasn't going to do anything for me to be corrective towards her. So I thought long and hard, and what I said was in the direction of, well, you could look at it that way, or instead you could look at it like this. What you are expected to be is a nurse who is a professional, a trained, licensed professional who is responsible for that human being. And you are not just a person that's able to go through a list of tasks or skills or just give medicines. Like, you're expected to know what that patient is experiencing, see signs and symptoms that are happening where maybe you could turn around a bad situation before it gets bad or gets to the point where you can't turn it around. Medical professionals, doctors, are expecting you to be their eyes and ears while they're not there. And if you have to call someone in the middle of the night or even in the middle of the day to tell them, hey, this is what's changing, this is what's going wrong, that's all you need to know, is that something is different. But you're not going to get to that point if you're not prepared. And that's what the program, them, the school, the instructors, that's the drive, is to get you past the point of just memorizing facts, just completing skills, perfecting skills, knowing how to do the list of tasks. And a lot of schools have changed their curriculum to a competency-based curriculum. It's more than just being task-oriented. It's about understanding the who, what, why, and where of that patient diagnosis and the treatments and nursing indications and professionalism in general. So I condensed all what I just said. I condensed it down into an encouraging way to help her to look at things differently. And I was ready. I was ready to get blasted by her and all of her friends that were enjoying the misery. And you know what? She liked it. She didn't say anything back, but she did heart it, which was very encouraging. So I try to think about that because I'm around nursing students all the time and I see the same thing happening. You get to a state of mind where you're tired and you're overwhelmed or you're struggling, and you begin to murmur, you begin to talk about how bad it is. And a lot of times it's directed toward your instructor or the school in general. Sometimes you don't even know who you're directing it towards. You just know that you're in a bad mood, that you're not dealing with it well. And it turns into this victim mentality. I am doing the best I can and I'm drowning. I can't do this. It's too hard. They're expecting too much out of me. And I see that when the more people that you have around you that have the same viewpoint and they start adding into it, well, then it kind of feeds us, okay? It fuels that misery and it just makes it bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's harder for you because at some point you have to put it on pause and still do the things, right? So why not recognize, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm sabotaging myself. I need to stop with the negativity and I've got to dig in and just make it happen, make it work. Look at it in a time frame. I've got so many weeks in this semester. I'm going to give it all I have for 6 more weeks. Then I get a little bit of a break. Then the next semester, like take it a little bit at a time and say, for this week, I'm going to manage my time. I'm going to look at that schedule. I'm going to put first things first, and I'm going to get this done and do it well. Instead of looking at the whole picture, feeling like you're drowning, listening to the negativity around you, just self-evaluate. There's a thing in nursing and in the hospital world, it's called RCA, root cause analysis. And this is what we do. We take an event, no matter how bad it was, if it was a sentinel event, if it was whatever it was, we take it and we back up. Well, what caused this? Well, what happened to make that happen? Well, what could have been done differently at that point so that that wouldn't have happened? And it's not just to focus on the subject at hand, which is important, but it's also to learn from it. And is there a policy or a workflow change that we have to put in place to try to help that from happening again? And I try to do that in my own personal life too. For example, like running late. Beth, why are you running late? Why were you behind? Well, because I overslept. Well, why did you oversleep? Well, because I stayed up too late doing, social media, or, I went down a rabbit hole and started cleaning out my closet. And before I knew it, it was 10:30 at night and I still had to do A, B, C, and D. Okay, so what could you do differently that would keep you from making that same mistake? You know ahead of time what time you have to get up, how long it takes to get there. So start prioritizing those things that cause you so much stress. I did tutor a nursing student, and I was trying to just find where the problem started. And so I was asking him different questions. And finally I said, do you feel like you were really going all in your lectures, your theory classes, or were you just like printing out the PowerPoints and reading over them and thinking that was going to give you the outcome that you wanted? Like, exactly where is the issue? And he said, I could have done more. And that was a lot for him to say that. And so we were able to take that and run with it. Okay, so what were you doing to start with that wasn't enough? And so we built on that. So be your own cheerleader, be your own coach, okay? And tell yourself, all right, I can do this. There are expectations put on me, but they're not expectations that the class ahead of me didn't do or that the instructors themselves didn't do. This is doable. And I just remember when the group of nursing students I ever taught, I don't even remember if it's the first exam or which exam it was, but everyone came out of that exam just like furious. Okay, I shouldn't say everyone. The first few people came out, they were a little stressed, then several more came out, and then it began to heighten and they were angry. And I said, are y'all okay? No, Miss Shadoan, everyone failed. And I stopped and looked at her and I said, everyone? Yes, everyone. And I started thinking, why does she say everyone failed? Like, what is the purpose of that? And I realized, well, if we all fail, then it's not our fault. It's the teacher's fault, right? And so I just got online and started looking at the grades. And in fact, everyone did not fail. Maybe everyone in her circle around her probably thought they failed, or they didn't do as well as they would have liked. And the emotion at the moment was so strong that it turned into everyone failed. And in fact, that student didn't even really fail. She just didn't do as well as she had liked, or as she thought she had prepared for. So I kind of tucked that back in my mind and thought, aren't we humans just funny creatures to where we think if we didn't do well, then it must be someone else's fault, especially if you can get other people to chime in. And so I started trying to nip that in the bud when students would come to me and say, well, I heard that so many percent of the class didn't score above a 75. And I would say, yeah, but what about the 25% that did? If it was possible for them, it's possible for you. And maybe you need to find them and ask them exactly what did you do that prepared you to do that well, instead of allowing yourself to get down that black hole of I'm not doing well and it's someone else's fault. It's so bad. I can't fix this. I can't correct it. Someone's got to do something to rescue me. I am here to coach you and to tell you, be your own advocate, okay? When you feel yourself going in that direction, I want you to stop and say, I'm going to work on my attitude. I'm going to have a positive mental attitude, and that is, I can do this. I am smart. I am capable. I am going to self-evaluate. I'm going to analyze the situation. What is it that I'm giving my time to that's taking away from the time I need to prepare? Or is it, I am studying, but whatever I'm doing is not working. So let me reach out to some people and see what they're doing. Like, be your own best friend. All right. So I'm going to just encourage you to find some positive quotes. All right. Pinterest is covered up with positive quotes. Or just think about things that you've heard in the past, or just, Google, give me some positive motivation quotes. Those are words, and words are important. And when you read words and you say words, it'll stick with you. I was working at a place a few years back, and I heard one of the nurse managers tell an employee that she was managing that one of her dad's best sayings that she always remembers and that she shares with her boys is, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And the profession of nursing is tough. It is tougher than you will ever imagine nursing school could have been. This is preparing you for that life, for that role. It is not for the weak of heart. It is not for the weak of mind, okay? This is part of maturing. The great phrase now is emotional maturity, intellectual maturity. This is where that starts. You start thinking about, I am responsible for me. My outcome is dependent on what I do, and I am going to be successful. I'm going to be positive that I'm going to give my very best and stand on that. I believe that you can do that. And if you found those positive quotes, maybe it's a Bible verse. A lot of people get their strength through the scriptures or through prayer. Whatever it is that you find strength in, you find that and you write it down, make a screenshot, whatever, and put it in multiple places that you're going to see every day. Because we see things, we read it in our mind, right? So make sure it's visible. Make sure you make a habit of thinking about that, of pushing yourself through, and then be an encouragement to others. When you see other people going down that path of being just defeated, negative, just feeding off of other people's negativity, just say, hey, stop and do yourself a favor and develop that PMA, positive mental attitude. I hope this has helped you. I know that it's easier said than done sometimes, but you have a decision to make. And I remember in nursing school, it was at a point that was just so hard, and I was ready to just throw my hands up and say, I can't do this. And I told my dad, I'm going to quit. This is not for me. This is not fun. I don't enjoy it. I really wanted to be a teacher, Dad. So would you be upset with me if I just quit? And you know what? He wouldn't let me quit. He said, you're going to finish nursing school. Now, after you're out of school and you're a nurse, if you want to quit that and do something else, that's fine. But you are going to finish this. I can't tell you how many times in my life that I have looked back and thought, what if he had let me quit? Like, what would I have done instead? What direction would my life have taken? And it doesn't mean that the only thing I could have been was a nurse. No, I could have been a lot of things, but pushing through that and becoming a nurse, not just having a profession that I was able to have a great career and all the lucrative things that came from it, the great people I've met, the experiences, not only that, but just making it through something really hard and growing as a person and maturing and being so proud of myself, that did a lot for me that I needed. And it set me up for a life of knowing times get tough. That's for sure. But push yourself through, dig in deep, and just continue to tell yourself, I am not going to listen to the negativity. I'm believing in myself. I'm going to set my goals and I'm going to achieve them. But remember, do it little pieces at a time and keep pressing towards the prize. And remember that God is for you. He is not against you. And He has given you plans for a hope and a future. And if you don't understand the power of prayer, then just please know that I am praying and I'm believing that you can accomplish anything that you put your heart to and your mind to. So have a great week, and until next Sunday, keep motivating yourself, keep pushing forward, and doing the very best you can. Okay, bye.